We're joined now by former National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign, Hogan Gidley. Hogan, always a pleasure to see you. Let's talk about Wisconsin. Pretty close right now. What do you make of that?
It is really close right now. The pollsters seem to have missed this one, at least, whether she pulls it out or not. It's still a lot closer than they had her for quite some time. She's a radical. You mentioned she hates Thanksgiving, wants to abolish that. She also hates Valentine's Day. Don't forget that. So she's anti-love while we're on the subject. But that would kind of be consistent for her, because also one of the most egregious, vile things she's ever talked about is lamenting, bemoaning her quote-unquote proximity to whiteness and how white people are a scourge. But yet she chose to marry a white man, have a child with that person, and now has a half-white child. And could you imagine being the child of this woman who, when they go on television, say they don't like your racial makeup? Well, that child didn't choose that. You did that. So again, a lot of things coming out on her that I think are problematic for a general, of course, but it seems like it's hurt her in the primary as well.
Yeah, so much about her personal life, not so much about her policy positions, or at least flesh out ones. Hogan, I do want to turn to South Carolina. I know you know that state very well. No surprise there. Darline Graham and Ralph Norman, they're making it to that August 25th runoff. Graham addressing concerns, or Graham Nardone, rather, she's saying that she lacks experience. South Carolina should pay attention to her and really take her seriously. Let's take a listen.
I've worked for 30 years for the state of South Carolina. I ran a state agency. I turned it from a struggling agency into a national model. I think that's great experience to bring to the table. Critical thinking skills, ability to lead and make good decisions. So I think I have excellent experience. I was there 3 weeks and I got the Russia Sanctions Act passed through the Senate. I was the deciding vote on Todd Blanche for Attorney General, so I think I've accomplished a whole lot in 3 weeks.
Yeah, Hogan, how do you think this race will shake out?
It's very interesting. I'm from South Carolina. I'm here right now, actually. Been a while since I've been involved in local politics, but I can tell you what the people of this state really appreciate and want, and quite frankly expect, and that's for someone not to be coronated, but to actually go through the process and answer the tough questions. I'm not saying that Darline has done that yet, but I think she is going to, in the course of this runoff, do that and get out and talk to those voters and put the best face forward she possibly can, having only been in that role for a couple of weeks. Ralph Norman, someone who has run for governor. He has high name ID now because he was just out on the campaign trail, but he's kind of not been the best advocate and or best supporter of Donald Trump while he was in Congress. In fact, he's had some difficulties there, standing up at the last minute and voting the way he should vote, kind of dragging things out. So it's anybody's guess. What I'm looking for in this particular race, though, is Donald Trump's involvement. Should he come to South Carolina and work to try and get Darline elected? If he does that, that could definitely help her. But at the same time, is he going to say anything negative about Ralph holding up his big, beautiful bill, for example? That could be problematic for Ralph. But as I see it right now, the polling in these campaigns also shows Darline is nobody's number 2 choice. Mm-hmm. She's way down the pecking order if they don't vote for her. If they're a Ralph supporter, for example, Darline is like 3rd or 4th under that person. Who was a Russell Fry supporter. She was 3rd or 4th under Russell Fry as well for like a second. If you guys have a second choice, that's going to be problematic for her. But I do tell you this: Lindsey Graham's apparatus here in South Carolina is second to none. They know how to run the campaigns. They know how to win the campaigns. That team is on it. They are putting the best face forward for Darline at this moment. She's going to have to make up some ground with voters, I think, in the next couple of weeks, through no fault of her own. I mean, that's just the condensed nature of what happened, the tragedy with her brother. But I tell you, South Carolinians are going to want to hear from both these candidates and expect a good race moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of action going to happen in the next couple days here. Again, that's election happening in just 2 weeks. President Trump saying, Hogan, I'm sure you heard him, he likes both, but I'm kind of glad you brought up the Ralph Norman stuff. It hasn't always totally been 100% with the president on things. So something also to keep in mind there for voters. Hogan Gidley, always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Hogan.
Thanks, guys.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.